If there's anyone in football who doesn't like and admire Bob Murphy, they have escaped my attention. Actually, that isn't quite right. Sam Newman stunned us all on the Footy Show last year, claiming Murphy tried to steal the limelight during the Bulldogs' 2016 on-field celebrations. Welcome, Bobby. How did it feel to cop that whack from the Footy Show?
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. I was going into my last game of footy. Look, I understand. You know what it's like. Footy's a bit like the jungle, and occasionally, you know, something comes out and.
But you're a protected species, remember?
But yeah, to go into your, that felt a bit like being king hit going into your last game,
Yeah.
and I mean it doesn't come as a shock to me that I wouldn't be Sam's cup of tea, and but I regret storming the stage to drag Luke Beveridge's medal off him. I shouldn't have done that.
How do you feel now that it's all over? It's been certainly half your life.
Yeah, it is a bit.
And it's done.
Someone asked me when it was all done, you know, what does it feel like? And it felt like leaving the Big Brother house after 18 years. It's such an intense.
Yeah.
And you do become very narrow, and your vision is quite short because they got that hyper focus. The game, that's what it did to me. The game, it intensified me, and you know, it gave me that narrow focus. And now that it's over, you know, the war is over, as you know, as a way of describing it, I sort of feel a bit more relaxed. I can the vision is, you know, for everyday things is a bit broader. Did
you ever know, say in the last 2 years, where you were headed? Because you and I had a conversation 6 months ago, and I didn't think you were totally committed to the idea of being a media practitioner.
Yeah, I've loved the stuff. I'm loving the stuff I'm doing. I love writing for the newspaper, and I love footy. Once footy gets its claws into it, but also because football is such, you know, that's all I left school at year 11, more or less, to become a footballer. 18 years in that intense environment, so it is kind of an adjustment of, okay, what, not worried, but just, okay, what can I do? Where am I value, and what'll sort of, you know, fill my soul.
You've got 50 years to go. Did you prepare for any field post football?
As in university?
Academically, or yeah?
No, I did. Once I started writing for the Age, I mean, most guys, you know, they ghostwrite, have their columns ghostwritten. I threw myself into that like a degree. So that's what I wanted to. I wanted to learn the craft, and I've tried to write a novel, you know, a book. And
I like it, and I like it. And it's, I don't know if whimsical's the word, but it's a bit. It fits that image of you. Whether that image is right or not, I'm not sure. I had a brief chat to your wife, Justine. I'm not sure that Robert Murphy at home is the same bloke we see publicly. Is it or not?
Well, I mean, to quote my darling Justine, I'm at home, especially with the football thing. That was the focus. Stress, you know, a bit of a stress head, and quite highly strung, and she would have cut. You know, if we had a little tiff, she'd be like, "You've got everyone bluffed. You're not laid back." And I think, you know, I can tell you whatever I want, but our wives, they know the truth.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have picked you for that. You seem so laid back is the right expression for what most of us see you.
I think with the football thing, I never felt the urge to. I didn't want to overplay how obsessed I was with it. I probably downplayed it a little bit, but in private, I took it. Didn't take myself all that seriously all the time, but I took the game incredibly seriously.
You spent the bulk of 2016 sitting behind Luke Beveridge on match days in the coach's box. Did it make you less inclined or more inclined to pursue a career in coaching post-football?
I admired Luke. I mean, I admire him anyway for lots of reasons, but I admire him, and it's a privileged position to watch the game of footy over his shoulder. But it didn't awaken the I want to be a senior coach. The stress and the mechanics of football, that's not where my, for want of a better term, skill set is. I like the relationship side, the psychology of footy. That side of footy fascinates me, and I've got an appetite for that. But the moving of the magnets around. No, that's not where I think my future lies.
Let's cut to the chase. You think they go crackers in the box, don't you?
Oh, they do. The game, I think the game sends all of us a little bit off the deep end, and senior coaches. It's a lot on one. I describe the senior coach in a football club as the sun in the universe. Everyone orbits and draws energy from that senior coach, which is too much on one person, but that's just the way it is.
3 big names have been in charge of you. Wallace, Eade, and Luke Beveridge has become a big name because he's a premiership coach.
Yep.
All, from where I sit, all different, all with their own peculiarities. Who did you relate best to?
I related best to Luke, but I think that's down to also the timing of things. When I got to the club in 2000, Plough was the coach. I was green, naive, pretty lazy, bit of a daydreamer, had a bit of talent, but so he had to kind of break me in like a Brumby, you know, and so
yeah.
Plough was really hard on me, and he needed to be, but his voice kind of sends me back. I almost get post-traumatic stress. And Rocket came, and I loved my time with Rocket. And Rocket can be hard on players as well. He and I got on really well, and we had a great time together on the field. It was an exciting time. We'd been down the bottom, and he sort of took us on a bit of an adventure. But Luke and I were probably more similar. He's not like anyone I've met in football. He has the balance of the mechanics of footy, the strategic stuff that we talked about, but also the emotional, the storytelling. He's a hard man to describe, but I think he got the balance of things. And when he came, I was 32. I was sort of I was desperate just to hang on, and I probably played my best footy under Luke, I would say.
Rodney Eade has a reputation for having a biting tongue, and I think he would accept that too. How did he handle you?
Yeah, I don't recall ever being the victim of victim's the wrong word, but he never really let me have it in the traditional fire and brimstone sense, which I saw him do that to other players. But I remember a couple of times he just looked at me and said, "Disappointing, Robert." But you know the psychology.
That would have cut you, yeah.
Oh yeah, cut. I would, it'd take months to get over that.
And what about when he did target someone in the group and peel the paint off the walls? Was there anyone better? Or worse, however you want to term it.
Well, he don't get me wrong. Rocket, when he pulled the ripcord, it would frighten you. But often Rocket, he would let it all out in the box, and he's an eccentric character with a temper, and it would let fly in the box. By the time he got down to us, he was quite an optimistic coach in lots of ways. But my memories are of Plough being really, really hard, and the verbal stuff was fierce.
Now, for want of a better expression, my love affair with you, the footballer, dates back to, I think you'd played about 3 seasons of football, and I was working for the Herald Sun, and I devoted an entire page to comparing you to Robbie Flower.
Yeah, you went early. You went very early.
But I mean, there were lots of reasons. I mean, you were both wafer thin. You had gone to number 2 at the Bulldogs, the number he wore. You were a right footer who bounced the ball left-handed, very good on your feet, and I just thought it was a very good comparison. And when you're young and someone says that sort of thing and likens you to a great of the game, is it uplifting? Is it scary? How do you react?
For a football fan, like I'm from a football family. It was like a massive thrill. But I was probably blessed that I didn't get to watch Robbie play that much. So I didn't know. I probably didn't know at the time how big a deal that is, so I never felt like it was a cross to bear. It was only later on that I thought, oh God, I've let Mike. I think I might have really let Mike down.
No, my investment was returned.
But I've got to thank you because of that comparison. I got to meet Robbie probably 3 or 4 times at various functions, and I've got a great photo with him at the Brownlow Medal one year. And I just had 3 of the greatest footy conversations I've ever had, and he was just very generous and empathetic. He was full of praise for the modern players, and I thought at the time that kind of sat adjacent to a lot of his 80s contemporaries, where they kind of sort of look down their nose a bit at the
you would
skinny
have
little
him.
flanker.
It was that ability to stay out of trouble yet be brave in the process. I mean, there was never a question on his courage nor yours.
Yeah, well, I think that the thing with Robbie, I didn't get to see him play live, and I haven't even seen that much tape, but I listened. I love footy stories, and I think you can tell by the way people talk about certain players, especially someone like yourself and other people who've been around for a long time, that he was one of those, that phrase, a footballer's footballer.
It's been a romantic journey for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it
Your
has
parents, Monica and John, both left the Catholic religious orders to ultimately marry.
They weren't overly happy with you dressing up as a priest. No, that's not true.
It was a promo.
That's not true. That's not true. They're fine about that.
And then you meet Justine when you were, I think, 12
Yeah,
at
about
school.
12, yep.
Yeah. What was your pickup line?
Oh, well, I did spot her, and it was, you know,
You're at the same school?
same school,
Yeah.
but I was a year below, and I went to the year 7 disco before my time, really. I wasn't meant to be there, but Mum was a teacher, so I thought a bit overconfident, thought I'll rock along. And I saw her, thought she's the prettiest girl I've ever seen, sat down next to her, said hello, and she turned to me and sneered, "What are you doing here? What are you even doing here?"
Because she was a year ahead of you,
She was a
wasn't
year ahead of me, and she was not impressed
And
at
she
all.
wouldn't have cared that you were one of the jocks, would she?
No.
No.
No, she still doesn't care.
But that charm worked, didn't it?
The dynamic's still the same in many regards.
It's a lovely story, though, to be kids that young ultimately get married. You were a long time popping the question, Bobby.
Yeah, no, well, we weren't high school sweethearts. Although, like, there was a few stolen kisses.
To quote Justine,
Yeah.
she passed you a few times.
Yeah, that's the stolen kisses are not
Don't
how
be too
people.
romantic.
That's not how people from Warragul talk. Yeah, we pashed behind the school sheds a couple of times, but we weren't a couple till our mid-20s.
And 3 kids now?
3 kids. Yeah.
Great careers, no question about that. 300 games, one massive disappointment for you, one hole in your career, and that's missing the 2016 flag. How deeply did it burn for you?
Oh, I don't know. In the context of, because you have to put these things into context, that I like Gerard Whateley's phrase that football is the dessert trolley of life. So in that context, missing out was like grief. So it's still, you know, I'll think about it every day. The sharpness of the pain is, you know, subsiding a little bit. But it knocked me around.
Can you recall the day or the weekend or the time when you said, I think this team can win the flag and I'm not going to be there?
Yeah, well, we beat Port Adelaide in Adelaide, and Port Adelaide was kind of a middle-of-the-road team that year. But that was a brutal game of football, and our boys just got over the line late in the last quarter, and Bonte had at the big moments, we stood up, and I remember thinking, it's happening. And I went home that night and was having a glass of wine with Justine. I said, I think the boys might win it this year. And from that point on, I was already kind of bracing myself because I know I've been around footy long enough. I knew that, you know, it was going to be the Bulldogs thing, and then there's the sad captain in the corner, and how can I handle that?
Do you feel part of it? Do you think that you're part of the premiership team? I know you weren't in the 22, but do you see yourself as being part of that premiership team?
Well, a part of the club, yeah. Yeah, I'm not insecure about my role for the team and for the club at that time. So people say I was mixed emotions, but so the only way I can describe that was as a fan of the Bulldogs, it was euphoria.
Yeah.
Because we're fans, we're supporters, we're barrackers. As a leader of the club, I was proud. Like, it was a pride that I'd never felt before. But as a footballer, I was utterly heartbroken.
When the Bulldogs beat GWS in an epic preliminary final, you knew then that the team was within 2 hours of that ultimate glory.
Yeah.
Hand on heart, how did you feel?
Hand on heart with about 2 minutes to go. It was an incredible game of football. I don't know if there's been a better game of football. Certainly, I haven't seen one. But with 2 minutes to go, and then your mind races to, okay, if the boys win, they're in the grand final. I'm going to miss out all that. I was terrified of how I would feel, and it's not something I'd hope on anyone else to lose trust of your emotions.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know if I'd be happy, and then the siren went, the boys won, and I was stunned and trying to just make sense of it all. And Chris Grant grabbed me in a headlock and said, "We're there." And by his words, I took it as the club, we're there,
Yeah.
the entire clan, we're there. And that for me, I don't know if that kicked me over, but it did put it into perspective. It's bigger than the 22, it's bigger than the cup, it's bigger than, this is a shift for our entire club, and I was relieved that I felt I did that there were tears of joy.
So that you,
With some warts on it.
Yeah, sure.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't, it wasn't all rosy. There were some warts on my, happiness.
So you're all on the same journey.
Yeah.
Grand final day.
Yep.
And you knew you were going to win before the final siren sounded.
Yeah.
What were your emotions in, and what were your thoughts about whether you should be out there, how you should conduct yourself?
That was a battle that had raged all week. I mean, I didn't want to go to the grand final parade. I had to be talked into that, but I felt like for the players, I had to put present that I was okay, so that they're not having to, be distracted about that. So I knew, and this goes back to the initial thing about, I knew for some people, I couldn't win. So if I sulked in the corner, he's a sook, it's not about you, mate. But then if you're there and presenting as a leader of the football club and you're happy for people and you would behave as you would then he's taken the loss. So I knew there was almost like a high wire that I chose to not sulk in the corner, to be up front and just to go with what was happening.
The Northcote stylist, aka Justine, says that you are anxious at home, and it would have weighed on you. And how was your emotional state in private?
Again, with the context of sport being the dessert trolley, I don't know how. I mean, it was almost like a nervous breakdown. So it was so exhausting because in public, and I was around the club and around the boys, and I was trying to help them and be strong and not be a distraction and support them and help them. I found that, and then I would come home and sort of just crash and take it, not take it out, but Justine have to sort of pick up the pieces. This is a bit of a surprise, a bit of a shock for me actually, because I came here thinking that I was interviewing you for my show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine, your show.
So I'm just going to hijack. Where'd they go? Where'd the questions go? I'm going to have to go off. That's another tactic by you. That's a power play by you.
I saw that clipboard and threw it out, mate.
Okay.
Well, do it off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head. Okay. Have you ever been interviewed before?
Yes.
Okay. Thought that was
You have to be better than this,
I thought that was going to be one for me. All right, who's more intimidating? Who were you more intimidated to interview, myself or Jacko?
Probably you.
That's one
because
to
at
me.
least you've got a brain.
That's one to me. What's your best bit of advice for me as an interviewer?
I think you'd be good at it. When people ask me about that, I think you need a couple of things. You need to be able to converse, and you need to be curious. And I think curiosity is the greatest asset that an interviewer can have.
There we go, curious. I'm going to tuck that in my top pocket.
And now you're actually going to be in this role mid-season for Fox.
Yeah.
Your show's called Bob.
Yeah. Palindrome.
And yeah. It nearly knocked me over when I heard it was going to be called Bob. You're going to pick certain targets out, friends of yours or people that you know of.
Yeah, people I'd like to meet.
Door knock them.
Well, not so much door knock them, but people who are an eclectic bunch of people out there who aren't. I'm not going to encroach on your space of ex-footballers but people from maybe the fringes of the music industry and in entertainment and actors and all sorts of politicians and talk to them about their passion for footy.
If you had a free day, Bobby,
Yep.
and you will have them now because you haven't got the footy commitment.
Yeah.
Justine, the kids are doing something else. How would you spend it?
How would I spend it? I'd probably organise to meet a mate in the city, catch the tram in and have a...
You'd literally catch the tram in?
Oh, yeah, well,
good boy.
Catch an Uber. I wouldn't drive.
Yeah.
And have a boozy lunch probably.
Yeah.
And then later on go to the Northcote Social Club and watch a gig. That'd be a pretty good day for me. At some point I would water the lawn though. I'm a bit obsessed with the lawn at the moment.
So at the gig you'd stand quietly up the back and just tell people the autographs will come after the show?
Well, obviously I'd storm the stage and take over. That's wait for the singer to...
Sorry, that's the second time you've said that. Were you... When you were called up... Luke called you up on the stage, didn't he? At the grand final? Yeah, Luke. How did you feel momentarily, that instant reaction to Luke saying... I don't know how... I get asked that a lot. The only way I felt everything. I felt
pride, euphoria, sadness. It was like trying to hold on to a secret that everybody knew. Everyone knew I was living an athlete's hell. That's an athlete's hell, footballer's hell. So it kind of at least was like, you know, we know. It's okay to let it all out.
Bobby, 45 players at every football club. They always seem that there's a magnificent bond between them all because they've got a common purpose and all that sort of things. Sometimes the emotions boil over, don't they? Your mate, Luke Darcy, did he upset you one night at training, did he not?
Well, he didn't upset me. He put me to sleep. Yeah.
And then he upset you?
I think that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was it a practice match?
It was a practice match, yeah. And unbeknownst to me, which was the critical bit of information, that Rocket took Darcy and Scotty West aside and said, because we were a young group, said, I want you to start a bit of trouble today. I didn't know about any of that. And Darcy and I were very close, but we'd sort of rib each other a little. And we were on opposite teams, and the game started. And I knew the nickname Bambi used to upset him because, you know, all arms and legs, and he'd fall over. And I was chipping him about being Bambi and about being a big soft ruckman and Bambi. And I turned to take a kick out. You know, the ball was about to be kicked back in, and he came up behind me. And he says that he wanted to reach around and sort of, you know, punch me across the chest or something, but it got me in the sweet spot and down. I was out. I was out. Yeah.
That wasn't the end of the story, though, was it?
You mean after? So when I woke up?
Yes. When you woke up, did you post a notice in his locker?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a long time ago, but it's funny now. But I was sort of left to my own devices, really. I was sort of taken off the field and just sort of sat there for a while. Sort of came to and a bit dazed. And I knew it was Darcy or Bambi, as it were. And I went into his locker and I grabbed a blue texter and I wrote "coward" above his locker, and it remained there until they redeveloped the footy club. No
one, if there's one word that you wouldn't want written on your locker, it would be coward, wouldn't it?
Well, to Darcy's credit, he left it up there, and you know, that was kind of his. That was his punishment, I suppose.
I saw you in the Surrender Hotel just before Christmas, and you looked like you were pretty good mates there.
Yeah, no, we're tight. Yeah, no, he picked me up for when I first arrived to the club. You know, that classic under the wing footy story of, you know, I admired him and loved playing under him, especially when he was captain.
Murph, how did you feel at the end of 2010? You've been beaten in 3 prelim finals in a row.
Yep.
At that point, we look back at it now, you just dismiss it in a sentence, but at the time, do you ever think you're going to cross that hurdle to get to the big dance?
Probably at the corner of 2010, you don't think it's over. There's a nagging thought of, oh, was that our shot? It's not until probably 2 years later when you have you bottom out, the coach, Rocket got the sack, Brendan McCartney comes in, and you feel the rebuild, and then you have the quiet moments of, oh, that was it. That was my chance, and, you know, do you stay or do you go? And, you know, I was always going to stay, and yeah, it was that. Oh, okay, wow, that was it. That was the sort of last crack at it. And then Luke Beveridge came, and then I describe it as magical. What happened was football magic.
The extension of that is, it sounds a simple question, what's the high point of your career? Because it may not necessarily be the premiership because you didn't participate in it.
Well, yeah, it still is. It still is, yeah.
So that's the best thing that happened to you in your time at the Bulldogs, even though you weren't on the ground.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but so this is how I would describe it to emphasise the point. My greatest day in football was the 2016 grand final. My worst day in football was the 2016
Very good,
final.
Very good. What are your views on tats? Not in lotto, as in.
Well, I don't know if you should get one. I don't know.
Where would I get it, and what would I get?
I don't know. Maybe a little tulip.
Well, tulip. And actually, I could be tempted into that.
You know what? We could both get one.
We could, couldn't we? Brothers, yeah.
We could put on my show.
I would actually. Might be talked into having one of Elvis, which you already have, adorning your chest.
It is of Elvis, of a young Elvis, but of course, you know what football clubs are like. You can't get away with anything. Nathan Brown quickly looked at that and quipped, "Oh, that's Paul Roos, you know. So
Did he?
yeah, so
He might have meant that, Brownie.
well, yeah. And years later, I was sitting in the Canberra airport, and I'm sat next to Paul Roos and Ben Hudson's, and I thought, oh no, the boys will twig here because we played Sydney, but it was anyway. We're all at the same airport. And I saw Roosy, I thought, oh, someone's going to twig here. Anyway, the Sydney boys got called, they left for their plane, and then Ben Hudson sort of jumps to life and he grabs me and drags me and makes me take my shirt off in the middle of Canberra airport to show Roosy. And Roosy said, how good's that? You know, some of my players won't listen to me. And this bloke's
Here I am on your chest. He would have believed that, Roosy, wouldn't he? Yeah. 2017, we can't do this interview without you talking about that. When did you feel on the way through, this is not panning out the way I wanted it to? We mightn't even make the 8, which you ultimately didn't do. Was it an anticlimax?
Just 2015 and 16 did feel magical. We'd hit on something very unique, that group of players. It felt like we just got it right. We had it right. The leaders of the club kind of emotionally all pointed in the right direction. Different people, but pointing in the right direction. And then in 2017, we just lost the magic. And people want to say, you know, the headline, you know, the premiership hangover, but I don't think that does it justice. I think and people, you know, they'll criticise me for saying this, but the Bulldogs premiership was a bit more than just a premiership. It was, for our club, it was a cultural event. It's a big difference than just the latest premiership for a club. And I think emotionally it was difficult for everyone to navigate. I think the symptoms were probably different. You know, some guys might have taken their eye off the ball and but I think even supporters. But it was difficult to get there again after the drama and euphoria.
What was going through your head the last time you walked off an AFL ground?
What was going through my head? I think it was just relief. I was just completely exhausted.
You were near Hodgie too, who at that time.
Yeah, that was really nice. It was a nice. I mean, I'm very close with Ruffy and Hodgie, you know, to be on the same field as Hodgie for his last game, his first last game. But then, you know, Clarko, he was my first coach at Werribee. It was relief. I was completely exhausted. Physically, I was done. Emotionally, spiritually, all of that. I'd run the tank dry, so it was like, I've had enough. Get me out of here. Get me in the caravan.
You did run the tank dry, and you should be proud of that. And I can honestly say that few players have given me more pleasure to watch than you have over the journey. It's been a great ride. Like everyone else, I would have loved you to have participated in the flag, but it didn't happen. But you've got a great legacy. Thanks, Bobby.
Coming from you, Mike. Thank you very much, mate.